Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
As I've shared before in this channel and beyond, some of my first home computer experiences were at my grandparents' house. My grandpa had a Commodore VIC-20 connected to a black and white television, and I learned some basic programming on there in the back room. The entire afternoon I'd be peeking and poking and printing, well, not printing anything on a printer, but I would be doing a virtual print command. I remember the day that I learned the shortcut for print could be a question mark. That was a long time ago. We cover a lot of topics on Locker Gnome, and we have such a wide audience. If you look at our analytics on YouTube in general, you might think, well, it probably skews to younger audiences. Over time, I would say we have an even keel, largely male. I don't know how many females we have in our audience, but most of them are male across the board. For every age range that YouTube measures, we have a pretty, I would say, balanced graph in front of us. So we go out to males of all ages, not just the youngins, but the old ones as well. So on LockerGnome.com, one of our, I guess you can consider him our resident senior, has written an article, Can You Lecture a Senior? And I don't know if you've been in a situation where you've had to explain to someone who is older than you, a particular concept that might be a bit technical. And there have been times that, I've tried to explain potentially technical topics to people who are older than me, and not trying to do it in a condescending manner, but for some reason or another, they seem to pick up on a very condescending tone, because there are only so many times you can repeat that there's no such thing as a wrong click when I say right click. It just means using the right button on your mouse to click. Okay, there may not be an actual button on the mouse at hand, but you could still potentially click it with your right finger. You could use your left finger to right click. It's the right contact. Then you try to think of another way without getting frustrated, and pretty soon it could turn into a lecture. Don't you lecture me, Sonny. Yeah, my day we didn't even have these things. We had something else. We didn't have anything. I don't know. I'm making that part out of. I'm not making fun of anybody who might be older than me, even though I kind of did. And at some point in the future, I'm sure you youngins will lecture me, and believe me, I am getting up there in age. Not slowing down anytime soon. And I'm reading here the chat room at live.perillo.com. TomTom says, some seniors know more than us youngins. In fact, I have older family that spend the days playing Skyrim. Skyrim. I meant to say Skyrim, not Skydrim. The Skydrim is not, it's not a game. Skyrim is. And I used to play it until I took an arrow in the knee. So, can you lecture a senior? When it comes to something that is near and dear to your heart, something geeky, let's say technology, how do you communicate it effectively without offending the person that you're trying to communicate with? I think there's a fine line, with what you try to convey and how you try to convey it. Megusta535 says, my grandpa is very, very simple. He doesn't use phones, TVs, or anything. He's an artist and sits outside and draws. If he was 20, he would be a hipster. Lol. Don't you lecture me, Sonny. In my day, we had typewriters. You may not look at, or you may not look it. You may not think it to look at me, but I learned how to type on typewriters. I had to wait for the typewriters that I used to warm up. No, actually, there are typewriters that I used that were just mechanical, not electric. They didn't have to warm up, but I hated those. I like the electric ones. You just barely touch the key and then just you'd think it would get annoying, but it was kind of comforting, actually. I do miss mechanical keyboards at times. Not all the time. But, how do you communicate your passion for technology to those who are older than you without offending them? Any tips and tricks that you might want to share? We've shared our own in case you have to deal with people who are older than you. And let's face it, if you are younger than 38, I am older than you. Watch your tone of voice, mister. Lucky I don't have my buggy whip.